Hello, hello. Okay, I think we are live. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex. I dabble in Forex trading. I took a little bit of a break because of health issues and other stuff going on, but I'm finally back and worked on my system and just signed up for the $50,000 challenge for FTMO. For those of you that have been here before, my usual trading time is 1 a.m. Until 1 a.m. Eastern time until 3 p.m. Eastern time. But usually I take one trade and then call it a day. I used to trade on a 5-minute chart. I switched that to the 15-minute chart. You can see my template on the screen. This is the FTMO account. I have only taken one trade so far, and that was just a test trade, and I only made $10 in that, just to see if my FX book is working and updating. It is, so tomorrow when I have a little bit of time in the afternoon, I'm gonna make it all public and then also post the MyFX book link in the description of this video and also of the upcoming videos. I plan on doing live trading every night until I hopefully pass the challenge. Let me see, can I see my chat here? Sorry, it's been a while since I have, here we go, live chat. Okay. So I got my live chat open. If you have questions, you can ask me anything. Like I said, my trading session just started an hour ago. I can tell you a little bit of the rules or what I'm looking for. You can see on the screen we have a big band and a smaller band. We want to see the smaller band come out of the bigger band, which already happened. Once that happens, the next rule or the next thing we're looking for is that price actually closes outside of both, which it did. Then the next thing I want to see is on this indicator showing exhaustion, and we had that too to the downside, which is good. Next thing I'm looking for is this indicator being in the oversold area, because I'm looking for a buy. So when the price comes out on the top, I'm looking for a sell. When the price comes out on the bottom, I'm looking for a buy. We have that too. It's in the oversold area, so that's another check mark. Next thing I'm waiting for is for this indicator to turn white, as well as this one, which this is already white, so that's good. Then we're waiting for a support dot, which we just got on this candle here. Next thing I want to see is, you can show you that on the sell example up here. I want to see a sell arrow, of course. I want to see at least one of those dots that you can see here. This is a red for sell, and we had a light blue one for buy on the bottom here. Then I want to see this blue arrow, which is an additional indicator. And the last thing I want to see is that white arrow. And my rules say if the entry, or if that white arrow appears outside of the band, the moment it appears, if everything else is already there, which in this case it was, we can take the trade as soon as this white arrow appears. We don't have to wait for candle close in this case, which happened last night. So we had as soon as this candle opened and went down just a little bit, we got the arrow, and I had my entry here. Stop loss goes above the support dots. Now there's green ones and blue ones. The green ones are 1 hour support dots. The blue ones are 4 hour support dots, so they're stronger, obviously. But the green ones are sufficient for taking a trade, which in this case here's a good example for when the white arrow shows up. We had everything else. We had it sort, yep. But it showed up in the middle of the band, so we would have to wait for price to come out of the band, which it did here. But then we had the resistance dots here, so now we have to wait for a green dot to appear, which it did right here when this candle closed. Let me make this a little bigger so you can actually see this. There you go. So as soon as this candle closed and this candle opened, we got the support dot, so the entry would have been right here. Stop loss right underneath the support dots, and then it just took off, and exit would have been here. Exit is reversed entry, so it literally allows you to take a trade from entry to exit, and then the exit is also entry going the other way. And like I said, we came out here, and now I'm waiting for my entry. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it on this side. This is actually better. I will pay attention to my chart and my chat. Yeah, actually, let me move the chat over here so I can actually see it out of the corner of my eye. I have a 3 monitor setup here, so okay, that's better. So I can see the live chat now. If you have questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the chat, or if you see that video after the live stream, you can also leave a comment. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you stay up to date whenever I go live, which will be every night for the next week or two. I'm hoping I can pass this challenge within this week. Yeah, I'm also risking my stop loss in this case, or my trading lot, my lot size is calculated on a 30 pips stop, even though in this case this would have not been 30 pips, it would have been only 10 pips. But that's why I calculated off, so I don't have to do it in, you know, right when I take the trade. Even though this is 50-minute candles, can still be a hassle if, let's say, you go in here and then you have to calculate the pips real quick and then enter the trade and correct lot size and whatnot. So I just calculate based on a 30 pip stop and 2%, which is usually right about 1 to 1.5% when I take the trade, because the stop loss is usually smaller than 30 pips. But just to make it easier on myself, I just take it based on that, and then whenever I close a trade, I update my account size. I have an Excel sheet that automatically calculates the next trade size for based on a 30 pip stop loss again. Here, actually, I can show you this real quick, so you can see this here. Here's 30 pips, 25, 20, 15. But to make it easier on myself, I just go by 30 pips, 2% risk, which usually comes out to right about 1% actual risk, because the stop loss is usually way below 30 pips. And this is if I want to take 2 half positions, but for this challenge I decided to just go with 1 full position stop loss and let it go. So yeah, that's what I'm using. So if I update, I already updated because I made $9.99 in the test trade, so updated here, and it tells me for the next oh yeah, I'm sorry, I take half of that, which is, yeah, so technically I only risk 1% or less, because 2% would be 6 lots and 6.67 lots, and then I divide it by 2, so which is 333. This is what I have here for my next trade already set up. So my actual risk is 1% or less, because usually the stop loss is way less than 30 pips. So that's how I calculate it. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. In my head it makes sense that that's what matters. So technically my risk is 1% or less on each trade, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, my trading time already started. You can see this white square here that shows when the trading area starts. So for example, last night it started here, and then we came out of here, so the entry would have been right here, as I explained before, and the trade would have still been going. I didn't take the trade last night because I was not quite ready with my template, but if I would have been ready, then this would have been my entry right here on somewhere in this area for a sell, and then I would have still been in that trade right now, waiting for a reversed entry signal to go long. And that's what we're waiting for right now, so you just never know when it happens. But we already have, like I said, we have the small band coming out of the bigger band. We got a white and a blue. The white band came out of the blue band, so that's already good. Price came out of both bands. That is the next condition, which is also already done. And then we have the exhaustion here. We have this yellow line in the oversold area, which is a must. And now we're just waiting for those indicators to turn white, basically. That's the next step. And then along with that, we need to wait for the blue dot, which we don't have yet. And then, of course, a buy arrow. We need support dots, and we need the white arrow, and the blue one. This blue one here. So we're not quite there yet, but I'm expecting it to hopefully set up soon. And then once I get my trade entry, I just enter the trade, set my stop loss, and then I usually go to bed because it's a 15-minute chart. Each trade usually takes at least, I would say, half a day minimum. Some take 2 or more days. So it depends on that. And for this challenge, even though I can hold trades over the weekend, unlike a real FTMO account where you're not allowed to do that, I will treat it as a real FTMO account. So if I'm in a trade by Friday afternoon before the market closes, then I will just close the trade and then start fresh the next week. Okay, so like I said, if you actually watching and you have questions, please feel free to ask a question anytime, and we'll see how it goes. Let me open up my Telegram real quick. It's out of here. There you go. Maybe I can make an announcement. Let's see. I do have a Telegram chat, but like I said, I haven't been active at all because I had some health issues to deal with. And okay, let me just post this. I'm gonna post here in my Telegram chat that I'm actually live. It's been at least 6 months since I have been online, so again, I apologize. Like I said, I had some health issues to deal with and other issues, and but I'm finally back and hopefully can make this a regular thing. Oh. Live right now. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna post it in there, so if someone happens to be awake and wants to watch. I used to use a similar strategy or template on the 5-minute chart before, but I noticed that on the 5-minute chart the indicators were a little bit too sensitive, and I find the 50-minute chart to be perfect for this kind of template. Basically, the principle behind it is, if you're interested, those are TMA bands. They're called McLauden. So it's not a standard TMA band, it's a different version of TMA band. And we have the 15-minute TMA band is the smaller one, it's the white one. And then we have the 1 hour TMA band here as the big band. which is in blue. And it's based on the principle that price basically ping pongs between the upper area and the lower area, and then we use some indicators to pinpoint the entry and exit. And that's basically it. It's a very simple strategy, but it's very effective. And I know that TMA bands repaint a lot. I understand that. However, in combination with all of the other indicators that I'm using here, it's fairly accurate. So had really good results. I actually did 2 free trials of the FTMO before I came back online, and I passed both of them with that template. It was not quite that template. I was still fiddling with it. I always tinker with stuff. I always find new things, and I'm always on the lookout for new indicators that can help with this template. And this one, in the form it is right now, I'm pretty confident that it will actually allow me to pass the challenge. Like I said, I did 2 free trials before I started this real challenge for 50,000, and I passed both times within a week. So I did 2 tests, and I said to myself, if I can pass 2 free trials back to back, so just to prove to myself that it's not just coincidental or that I got lucky, then I will actually tackle the real challenge again, which I did. I signed up on Saturday, Sunday, yeah, and I took my first trade, which is when the challenge starts. Actually today it was just like I said, a small test trade to see if everything is set up correctly, and I closed it after $10 profit just to see if it works, and my FX book updates and everything, and it looks good so far. And this is basically my first night really trading the challenge. Again, this is for 50,000. You can see that on the no, you can't see that. Well, give me 1 second. Let me see something here. Maybe I can. There we go. Let's see if I can. Okay, that should work. Nope. Come on. There we go. So you can see that this is the order confirmation for my challenge here. And oh, June 5th is when I ordered it. Okay. So 2 days ago. And you can see this is for the FTMO challenge and a value of 50,000. And this is my order confirmation. So this is what we're doing right now. See how it goes. Like I said, patiently waiting for my entry. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Let me just close a few windows here because streaming doesn't like it if I have too many tabs open in my browser. Close this. Okay. Oh yeah, my FTMO page. Let me see. Show you the FTMO page. So this is, let me just refresh so you see that this is not a screenshot. So this is my challenge here, FTMO challenge. You can see 50,000 balance. Let's go into the metrics. Yeah. And you can see account size here, 50,000. That's what we're going for. And so far I only had 1 trade. That was the test trade earlier where I made $10. So $9.99. There you go. That's what I made before. So it's a fresh challenge, and I'm gonna live stream my trading every night, and hopefully we'll get there. Would be nice. Like I said, the 2 free trials worked. I passed both times, and I decided to go for the 50,000 right from the start. And then if I pass this one, I'm gonna use the profits from the first payout to sign up for the 200,000 FTMO account. I think the max size is now 600,000 if I'm not mistaken. I have to look into it. It's either 400,000 or 600,000, I can't remember. But I'm going to use the profits from this account to buy the next 200,000 challenges until I get to the maximum. And then once that is done, I'm going to do the same thing with my Forex fund. And then I can connect both MT4s to basically trade them as a simultaneous trading both of them at the same time. There's software that allows you to just copy the trade to another MT4. I already tested that last year and it worked great. So that's my long-term goal. Like I said, first FTMO, because it's the tougher challenge. You have to have 10% profit in 30 days. And my Forex fund I think it's only 8% that are required in 30 days. So I think that if I can pass FTMO, then I definitely should be able to pass my Forex fund. That's my way of thinking behind it. I know a lot of people would say, well, my Forex fund is a little bit cheaper, why don't you start with that? Like I said, for me it's important to prove to myself that I can actually do it. And then if that happens and I pass FTMO, then I have a lot more confidence to do my Forex fund, being that it has lower requirements. Okay, close this. I'm just closing everything that I don't have to have open here. Okay, streaming, I can close this one. We're live here. Oh, I have a viewer. Hey, I got one viewer. Awesome. Pause. Okay, hold on. And someone asked me in the Telegram chat about the link for the stream. Where do I find that? Hold on, I gotta check my channel here. Sorry, this is all live. Nothing is scripted here. And I haven't done anything in months, so I'm trying to figure this all out again. I'm not a pro by far. Okay. Where am I at? Oh. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Where do I find the link? Oh, Jesus. 1 second, I'm sorry. Google Chrome doesn't want to do what I need it to do. Hey, okay.
Hello guys, welcome to another.
Jesus. Sorry. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Switch account. Ah, there it is. Okay. There we go. Copy link. Okay. Someone asked me in the Telegram chat about the link to the live stream. So that's what I did. I just copied it in there. Yeah, if you're on the live stream and you can see the chat, just say hi, so I know somebody's actually there. And also, if you can actually hear me out there, because right now I don't even know if you can hear me. So if you can, just let me know real quick in the chat, hey, I can hear you, or hi, or just so I know that someone is out there. That would be fantastic. I would appreciate that. Let me just grab a water real quick. Ugh. Sorry. I did a mic drop and I apologize. I have one of those clip microphones that I have to clip on my collar. I bought it because it's fairly cheap and good quality, but anytime I have to do something, I have to unclip it from my shirt. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry if that was a little loud. I accidentally dropped the mic when I took it off. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, got my water. I'm just gonna check. Give me 1 second. I gotta check if I can actually hear myself in the video, so I apologize if you get an echo for a second here. But I have to make sure that I'm actually being heard out there. And I am. Okay. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, so once again, we are in my trading session. You can see that here with this white dotted box. It started at 1 a.m. That's the start of my trading session. That's right around the area where we usually get a signal. And you can see that we already have a few conditions met. The white band came out of the blue band. The price came out of the both bands, which is a condition to take a trade. We have the exhaustion, which is good. We have the oversold area, or the yellow line in the oversold area. And what we're waiting for right now is those two to turn white. That's the next step. And then we need, of course, a buy arrow, one of those green arrows. We need that blue arrow, like here. And we need one of those dots, and we need support to show up here at some point. So once we have all those conditions, then we have to wait for the white arrow. And as soon as we get the white arrow, we can jump in, which can be on the opening of the candle. This white arrow here, for example, showed up literally like when this candle opened and just went down a little bit back to the white band. This is when the arrow popped up. I checked with all the other indicators here, and they all gave me confirmation. I had all the other requirements. So as soon as that white arrow posts, basically you can jump in a trade, put your stop loss above the support dots, and then off it goes. And if by the end of my session I'm still in the trade, that's when I call it a day, which is right around 3 p.m. Eastern time. So 2 hours before the day switches to the next in the Forex market, which is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once I hit that line and I'm still in the trade, I usually move my stop loss to break even. and set my profit target at the band at that time, the blue band. And then when I come back the next day at 1 o'clock, if I'm still in the trade, I just keep managing it. In this case, if I would have taken that trade last night, which I didn't, then I would have closed the trade right here, which would still been a good profit, so about 70, 75 pips. So that's how I handle it. It's very similar to the old strategy, if you have been here before when I posted my other system. So a lot of rules carried over, and just a few things have changed. And yeah, here we are, back again. I'm just gonna post a smiley in the chat. Boom, there you go, so you know I'm live. And feel free to say hi. Forex trading is boring as it is, so I wouldn't mind a little chit chat in the chat. Or if you have questions, feel free. Oh, okay. Just saw your response fast. That's fine. Like I said, either way, I just wanted to see if I'm actually being heard out there, because I didn't know. It's been so long. It's been months since I've done a live stream, so or a video for that matter. So I actually had to update the software and reset all the settings, and it took me a while to actually go online or go live. I started at 1 a.m., which is right when my trading session starts, and it took me until 2 a.m. to actually iron all the errors out and actually be able to be live. I just want to make sure that thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I had some health issues to deal with, and I had priority, so I had to take a break. Nothing serious. I just had I had my teeth fixed, basically, so it was a way longer process than I thought it would be. I thought they told me 3 months in the beginning. Well, it was almost a year by the time everything was done, but it's finally over, and I'm doing good again. Everything is good, and I used the time to work on the strategy, like I said before in the beginning of the video. So I never stopped working on it. I just wasn't able to go online or make videos for the time being. I had a couple of surgeries, so it made it pretty much impossible to speak. And you can make videos if you can't speak into a microphone. So that's why I took that break. But like I said, I did keep working behind the scenes. I worked on the strategy, on a template, tried probably a few hundred different indicators, and always keep improving also my rules, trading rules and everything. And then once I was happy with it, I did 2 free trials of the FTMO challenge back to back, and I passed both of them. And after passing it twice in the free trial, I decided to go for the actual challenge, and this time I went for the 50,000 because I need to make some money. So I was like, my original plan was to start with 10,000 and then use the profits from the small account to buy the bigger challenges. But for private reasons, let me just put it that way. I don't know how it's going to work out with my apartment here, because the lease only goes until December, and I just want to make as much money as I can until December. So I decided to skip the 10,000 challenge and go straight to the 50,000, especially since I did the free trial twice and passed. So I'm fairly confident that I can pass the 50,000. It's just a matter of different trading sizes. That's all it is. Same rules, everything. So there shouldn't be any difference. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a question on the chat or on Telegram. That's fine either way. And then if I see it, I will answer if I can. So like I said, we're like halfway there. We're still waiting for all the check marks, so to speak, of my trading plan to fall into place. And we're kind of like, let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, 3. Okay, so far we have 3 out of 12 rules met to take a trade. So, let's see what happens. Like I said, rule 1 is we want to see the white band coming out, which it did. We want to see the price coming out of both bands, which it did. Then we want to see the exhaustion, which we saw. And we want to see the yellow line in the oversold area in this case. This is not a RSI. This is a custom indicator. So that's why it looks a little bit different from an RSI. But we want to see that in the oversold area when we take the trade. Kind of like here. You can see the entry was right here on this candle. And it was in the oversold area. That's where we want to see it. Still waiting for those two. Now, yeah, there is an exception that I noticed with this indicator here. When price goes up quick or comes down quick, like we had those 3 massive candles here last night, it takes that indicator a little while to catch up. So it should have been, okay, let me go back so you can see that. For example, when we came down here, you can see that we saw white on this one first and then white on this one. That's the kind of order that I like to see it. So I like to see this indicator, the switch colors first. It gives me more confidence. And like I said, then we had almost all the requirements met when this white arrow came in, but we don't take trades inside the white band. So if that arrow shows up inside the band, then I need to wait for price to come out of the band again, which it did here. And then in this case, we had the red resistance dots here. So that negates the green support dots. So when that candle closed out here, I couldn't take the trade because of this. So I had to wait for a green support dot to come in. And also we had a sell arrow last. So then we got the buy arrow again. And that's when we had all the confirmations in place. So opening of this candle, the blue arrow is optional. We did have the dot already, so I would have taken the trade right here on this candle when this opened, and then support was there, so that's where my stop loss goes. So in this case, we would have had a 10.5 pip stop loss. I usually don't go right at it. I go a little bit deeper, so maybe even 12 pip stop loss, and then the exit would have been right here. So that was right around the 82, 84 pip trade with a 10 to 12 pip stop loss. So that's a pretty good risk reward ratio. And this was even a nicer trade. So from here to here, that was, let's say, 13, 14 pip stop loss. And so far we've come down to 134 pips. So that would be a 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. So that's the nice thing about the system. It allows for very tight stop losses, and you can literally let the trade run its course until you get a reverse entry. As simple as that. So you can maximize your trades. They always say, let your winners run and close your losers early. And that's exactly what that system actually does for you. Yeah, thank you, Foss. It's true. Like I said, average risk reward is at least, I would say, 1 to 5 minimum average. But usually you have like a 1 to 8 or 1 to 10. That's not uncommon. Let's see what this would have been here. This trade here, here was the start of the trading session. Price came out here, so here would have been the entry, because start of the trading session we had all confirmations already in place, and at that point all we need is for price to come outside of the white band again, so we can actually take the trade, which it did on this candle here. So as soon as that candle comes out here and closes, that's where you take your trade. You put your stop loss right above the support dots, which were everything was already in place when the session opened. So I like those kind of nights. So you would have had, let's say, 11, 12 pips stop loss. Always give it a couple of pips room, but this would have been 12, 13 pips stop loss, and then the exit would have been right here. So 96, 97 pips with a 12 pip stop loss. Not shabby at all. Let's go back one more day here. So we had confirmations here. Everything was in place, and then price, because this white band, like I said, it repaints a little bit, so it was probably down here. So your entry would have been right around here somewhere when price finally came out of the band, because we do not take trades within the white band. We wait for price to come back out, which it did probably on one of those candles. So your entry, let's say, even if you take it here, that's 22 pips. What? I'm sorry. 12 pips stop loss, and then exit would have been here, 12 pips, and the result would have been 103, 104 pips. So all those trades are pretty amazing. That's why you can easily pass the challenge within a week if you risk 1% on the trade. That's the nice thing about the strategy. So, all right. Just keep watching the charts and see what happens. I'll leave the size at this. I usually like it a little bit smaller, kind of like this. But I think for YouTube that's a little bit too small, so I'm going to leave it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it better. Yeah, and the nice thing about the strategy, like I said, there's no guesswork. If you follow all the rules to the T, you always get a pinpoint entry, and you know exactly where to put your stop loss, and you know exactly where to get out. So there's no guesswork, or you can basically relax a little bit and keep the stress of trading a little bit out of it, because you have a set trading plan, you have a set of rules that is put in place, and you just follow it to the T. That's all I'm doing. But like I said, there's no guesswork. Everything is written down in the rules. Let me go over them real quick. I have them written down here. So once again, first we want to see price coming out of both bands. Ideally, we want to see the white band coming out of the blue band at the same time, which it did now. You can see that here. Then we want to see the exhaustion, which is the first bottom indicator, and we see that here, that green bulge basically shows the exhaustion. That's another rule that we have to have before we take a trade. We need to see this in the oversold area, which we did. Then we need to see that indicator in the white and this indicator in the white, which is what we're waiting for right now. And then we need to get our little dot, which we're waiting on the light blue dot right now, which we don't have yet. I think that dot doesn't always paint. That's a new indicator that I found. So sometimes you get two, like 2 days before, 2 days ago. Sometimes you don't get it at all, so I have to see what that indicator does. But for now I have it as a set rule that we need to see that dot at some point before we take the trade. So we didn't see the dot yet, and we didn't see the white arrow yet. And we still don't have support. Yep. So we're still in waiting position for now. So the first thing before I even look at the chart is I want to see those two indicators turn white. That's the first thing I want to see. So this is what I'm waiting on right now. Oh, I just saw your question, Foss. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm only concentrating on one pair. That's it. And I love GBP USD because it's not too crazy. I hate trading the Canadian dollar pairs and the Swiss franc pairs. They're horrible to trade because they spike up and down like they ping pong up and down like crazy. So I don't like to trade those. GBP USD is very calm. It's a very calm pair, and it's very good to trade with this strategy. And honestly, all I need is one trade a day, and GBP USD gives me that most days. There have been days when I did the free trials where I did not take a trade, but that was simply for the fact that I still didn't get an exit for a trade that I was already in. I think one trade actually lasted 5 days. So that was a fantastic trade, by the way. It was almost 600 pips. It's very nice. So I don't mind not trading that day if I see that my current trade is still going. Then hey, let it run, right? I'm not mad at that. Actually, let me see if I can find that. I'm just gonna make it a little smaller so it's easier for me to find where that trade was, so you can actually see it. It was fantastic. Just gonna put the days on so I can see it better. Let me see where that was. Yeah, that was a 3-day trade. That was a nice one too, over 3 days, all the way up here. It's very nice. But there was one going down, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, here. That was the monster trade. So we had the sell confirmation down here, and then we did have a little break here, but that continued the next day, and then we went another 3 days down. So all in all, it was like 600 pips, I think. Let me check. So right around here somewhere, to probably right around here. Yeah, 650 pips. That was nice. So if you have a 12 pip stop loss and you close a trade with 650 pips, you can do the math. That's nothing to laugh at. That was very nice. But usually I would say the average trade is somewhere between 1 to 3 days on a 15-minute chart. So that's the average. Usually you get one trade a day, and that's all I really need. Like I said, if I have a risk reward of 1 to 5 or 1 to 8 or 1 to 10, 1% one day, and you have a 1 to 5, that's 5% in a day. How much do you really have to make, And if you can do that 2-3 times a week, that's 10-15% at the minimum. That's a good return. There's other traders out there that are happy to make 10% in a month. So yeah, 650 pips, that's what it was. It's crazy. I mean, there was a break in between, so it was not like one continuous trade, but I knew it's gonna go further down and just take a break there, which in that case I just exited. I didn't take the counter trend trade. I just waited for the re-entry. Here, let me go back, because this thing was just full on falling. Where was? Oh, I gotta zoom out again. I apologize. I have to find it again now. Okay, I have to go back. Sorry for the scrolling. Yeah, that was the trade. When I zoom out, I can actually explain that, why I expected it to go lower. As I said before, the green dots are 1 hour support dots, the blue dots are 4 hour support dots, and then we have the golden ones, they're daily support dots. And usually the chart goes from yellow to yellow and just makes the movements up and downs in between. And we can see here that we had the yellow daily dots and we didn't get the yellow dots down here. So I knew it's going to continue further down, which it did. And then finally we had the yellow dots, golden dots here. So that's when I knew that the move was over. That's why I didn't even bother, because there was literally just one night in between sessions where it went up a little bit. Let me see if I can find it again. Yeah, here, that area. Let me zoom in a little further. There we go. And a little bit more. Yeah, and you can see that was like, I mean, it's still 30 pips, but I just, when you see the blue band falling straight down, then you already know that it's going to continue lower, and you don't get golden dots here, then that's just basically taking a break in between sessions, and that's exactly what happened. So we had the exit right here. I didn't even bother because we didn't have dots. But like I said, looking at the 1 hour TMA band, you could see that it was just falling down. And then next day we had an entry right on opening of the session. Stop loss again. What was it? 18 pips, and then you could have closed it here. That's 173 pips. Again, 1 to 10, 17 pips stop loss, and 170 pips down. Nothing wrong with that, but this thing just kept falling and falling and falling all the way down to here. And then we finally had the golden dots. Then that's when I knew, okay, now we're taking a break here. Then we went up and up, and then we have the golden dots here. So now we're going down again, which we did here, and then further down, and then we have the golden dots here again. So we're going up again, which we did, and further up and further up and further up and further up and further up, and then we had the golden dots here. So now we're going down again, and further down, and we're still going down. I actually had gold dots here, and because price went lower, they disappeared now. So this indicator does repaint, but it's still there's so many different support and resistance dots out there. I actually have 4 different indicators that do kind of like the same thing, but this one is the most accurate out of all of them from my experience. That's why I like to use it. So we're still waiting for an entry. Usually we get it right around like max halfway through, and we're like 2 hours in now. So hopefully something is setting up here soon. Yeah, and also because another good thing is when you have all those rules in place, all the different conditions that need to be met first before you can take a trade, First of all, you have to practice discipline, and it also makes you a little bit more relaxed when it comes to FOMO, fear of missing out, because you know exactly when to get in and you know exactly when to get out, and until you have all the conditions met, you don't take the trade. So even like here, like I'm waiting for a buy right now, and let me make this bigger again so you can see better. I apologize, just used to that. Even though it's going up now again, I know that this is not an entry yet, because not all of my conditions are met, and this might even go a little bit lower. So FOMO is automatically put in place, and it's easier to deal with, if that makes sense. It's another thing I love about this system. There's literally no guesswork. You just have to follow the rules step by step. That's all it is. And so far we're 1, 2, 3, 4 steps in. That's it. Just patiently waiting for an entry. That's it. Yeah, you have to have rules. I mean, if you don't have a plan on when do I get involved in the market and when do I get out, if you don't have that in writing step by step, with rules that are repeatable, meaning that you can follow them every day the same way, then you don't really have a trading plan. Then it's just guesswork. You gotta have rules in place that basically bring you to the entry point, and then you can take the trade and follow your rules, and you take the trade, you set your stop loss, and then you patiently wait for your exit signal. And that's it. There's no guesswork. Everything is written down in rules. And honestly, sometimes, let's say here, when we get an arrow in the band, I said before that we don't take trades in the band. So if that happens, that we have everything in place here, which we had, I would still not take the trade, because I need to see price to come out, and that doesn't always happen. So sometimes you miss the trade. That's why I said you almost get a trade every day, not every day. You know, but I'd rather miss a trade that didn't follow my rules than to get into the wrong trade and risk a loss. That's just the way I look at it. Basically, if it doesn't want to play nice, the pair that I'm trading, then I don't want to play with it. Simple as that. I think I said that before in one of my older videos, but that's very important. When you have rules in place, you follow the rules, and if the pair doesn't follow your rules, well, then you don't take the trade. Then you come back the next day. Simple as that. You gotta be disciplined enough to say, okay, it was just not, the market wasn't there for me and didn't show up for me, so I come back the next day. Never force anything. And that's that. But like I said, usually I would say you get at least 2 to 3 trades a week, and that's honestly enough. If you risk 1% and make, I mean, you saw it when I showed you the trades from the previous few days. Every trade was like 1 to 8, 1 to 10 risk reward. You take 2 of those a week, you're over 10%, challenge done. 2 trades. That's all you really need. Okay, so we have a resistance dot that showed up. Excuse me. And we're still waiting on those to turn white. So even though this turned green already, and we have no other confirmation either. We don't have the blue arrow yet. We don't have the white arrow yet. So we have to wait. Yeah, and this is where other people would be like, oh my god, it's running away, let me just jump in and put a stop loss underneath here. Problem is, because we don't have all the conditions met, this might actually turn around and go lower. So if you take the trade here out of FOMO, seeing that it goes up again, first of all, you have a mega stop loss here, which would be, what would that be? Like 40 pips right now. So you don't want to have that kind of stop loss. And second of all, that's the trades that you get in where you get stopped out again. So that's the beauty of the system. So you gotta be patient, you gotta follow all the rules, you gotta wait until all the conditions are met, and then when every single rule is met, condition is met, that's when you take the trade. There's no guesswork. So I'm not worried about this. Have no FOMO, and I'm not thinking I'm missing out on something. I'm just patiently waiting. That's it. Oh, hey John. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to the chat. I apologize. I hope you're still here. This system is not free now. My old system was free, and it's still available if you go into the Telegram channel. You can still download the old system. It's still available there. This is a new and improved version, and this one is not free. However, some of the indicators that you see here are in my old template or in my old system. So if you download the free system from my Telegram chat, then you have pretty much 80% of what you see here available for yourself. It has like 80% of the indicators that you see here already in it. I just updated it with a few newer indicators for the new system, so you could piece it together if you wanted to. And it's also not completely done yet, so I can't sell it yet, if that makes sense. But like I said, most of the indicators that you see on the chart are actually the same indicators that I used in my old system, and that old system is still free and is available in my Telegram channel. I think the support dots were in the old system. This indicator was in the old system. This indicator was in the old system. Those buy and sell arrows were in the old system. Yeah. And I think the TMA bands were in the old system too. So you got pretty much the essentials. If you want to piece it together yourself, you can. Gotta put a little work into it. I mean, if it's free, it's only fair that you do a little bit of the work yourself. Once the system is satisfactory, how do you say that? Once I am satisfied with the system the way it is, then I think about maybe offering it for sale. I don't know yet. I have to see how it goes. Let me just get rid of that period separator. I don't like this. So, okay. Okay. I hope you're still here. I hope you heard that. I'm sorry, I didn't see a message in the chat. And we're still waiting for entry. And in case you're wondering, that sound that you hear, that's me vaping. I quit smoking about 10 years ago and switched to vaping, and I still enjoy it. So yeah, we're still waiting for an entry. So this upward move might put us a little bit closer to the entry, kind of like what happened here when we had the move outside, and then it came down a little bit and then moved up again. That was enough for those to switch over. Maybe we see something similar here now, where it moves up and then comes back down, and then we see this switching to white. That would be nice, and then maybe within hour and a half, maybe we get an entry. And once again, once I have my entry, I usually just walk away. So there's no need, because on a 15-minute chart it always takes at least half a day before you get anywhere. So there's no point in sitting in front of the chart, because you can see here it took like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 hours before it was down here. So if you take the entry here, I'm not gonna wait 7 hours and just watch the chart. I'll just take my entry, set my stop loss, and then I walk away at least for 12 hours before I even check the chart again. Worst case scenario is that it hits your stop loss. So, but as you saw before, risk reward being between 1 to 8 to 1 to 10. If you lose a trade here and there, it's not a big deal. You make that easily back. And I would say this system has I would say like at least an 85% win rate. Let's say 80%. That's underestimated. That's from personal experience. So that means if you lose 2 out of 10 trades and you have a 1 to 8 risk reward on average, you don't have to worry about 2 losing trades. You still make plenty of money. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Okay, now we have the blue arrow here, as you can see, and we have the support dot, so we're getting closer to the entry. And like I said, I'm not expecting this to switch to white, because we had a pretty steep downward move here, kind of like we had here, where it moved up very, very quickly. So this indicator takes a while to catch up if that happens. So in this case, I'm actually gonna just lower that and take it out, because in this case it's useless. Kind of like what happened here. Now you can see the indicator. Yeah, I think it was here when it switched to white, like literally right before the entry. So if moves like this happen, you can easily just ignore that indicator and make it smaller, because it messes with the indicator. And we have a very steep move here too, quickly going down. So it takes the indicator a while to catch up. So it's useless in that case. If you have a smaller or smoother turnaround, like very slowly, then the indicator is perfect. But if you have something like this happening, where it just shoots up or shoots down, the indicator just can't keep up. So whenever that happens, like here, I just blend that one indicator out. And we have the same thing happening here. You can see that. So I'm not even worried about that. So we have to take the entry without that indicator. Now on this one, I want to see at least one white. At least. And that hasn't happened yet. Let me just go down here a little bit. Okay, yeah. So we have the support dot. We have the blue arrow, kind of like what we had here. Would be nice to see that little dot, bi dot, light blue appearing. That would be nice. And then we also need the white arrow. That's another must have. So let's see what happens. And like I said, if all we're waiting for is the white arrow, you do not have to wait until the candle closes. So as soon as that arrow appears, if that, which in this case, the candle opened here, and then as soon as it went down to the band, it already printed that arrow, then you can take the trade. If all the other conditions are met. If not, then you have to wait, of course. Like here, for example, when you had this white arrow, well, one of the rules says that if the arrow or the price is within the band, then we have to wait until price comes out of the band again, like here. But in this case, we were outside of the band, so it would have been perfectly fine to take the trade right here, since everything else was already in place. Okay. Looking good. Let's see what happens. I'm feeling a little stupid talking to myself here. Oh well. What is the streaming looking like? Okay, still 2 viewers. Okay. Well, thanks for staying with me so long. Appreciate it. By the way, if you're watching the video right now, if you would leave me a like, I would really appreciate that. This is a very small channel. I'm still trying to build it up, and likes, subscriptions, and comments helps tremendously. I know you probably hear that in every video, but it's really true. And since we're really small, I would appreciate a like on the video, at least. I mean, if you want to follow along, like I said, I'm going to do this every night until I pass the challenge. Hopefully, pass the challenge, let me put it that way. By the way, the reason why I'm doing it live is because I kind of have to hold myself more accountable to follow the rules that way, if that makes sense. And at the same time, I can show it off, and you can see what the system is about, and hopefully get to know it better and understand it better over time, and hopefully see me pass the challenge with it. So, only good things. It's a win-win for me and for you. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm streaming 1440p. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, tomorrow night I'm gonna do 1080p because I know that's easier to see on YouTube, especially if you're on a smaller device. I apologize for that. I will fix that tomorrow night. Okay, and like I said, all I do is stream until I get my entry. I'm gonna take my entry, set my stop loss, and then I usually just walk away for at least 6 to 8 hours, which for me means I'm going to bed. And then in the morning when I wake up, then I check on my trade. Because there's really no point sitting there for 6 to 8 hours before you see some kind of result. I mean, some trades go fast, like this one here last night. Unfortunately, I was not in it. I was just watching it at that point because I was still testing an indicator, and this would have been actually fairly quick trade. So we had price coming out right here when the session started. He could have taken the trade right here or here. Stop loss underneath here, and then just went up. That was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. That was a pretty quick trade. Even if you take it from the beginning, from down here, it would have been 7 hours. So that was a really, really quick trade. This is more the norm here, like at least one day we had the entry here, and now we're still waiting for the exit, so to speak, or entry going the other way, reverse entry. So that's more the norm, where you have 1 day to 2 days for the trade to play out. But even it quotes fast trade from last night, still, if you take the full trade, it would have been 7 hours. So there's enough time to go to bed, sleep, wake up. I usually only sleep around 6 hours. Get up and check on the trade, and I would still be up before I had my reverse entry. So that's why I usually just enter the trade, set my stop loss, and then I go to bed. When I wake up, I check. Like this trade here. When was that? That was like, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you take your trade, and then we're still sitting here waiting for an exit. That was yesterday at 10 a.m. was the entry, and we're still waiting for an exit signal here. So there's no point getting into the trade and sitting here for hours just to watch the candles go down, because it always takes at least 6 hours to see any kind of movement. So that's what I usually do. I just take my entry, set my stop loss, and then I go to sleep. And then when I wake up, I check. Okay. So price is pulling back now. That's good. Actually, I'm gonna keep that indicator open so you can see it, but keep in mind that we're not worried about this indicator in this case because of that short movement down. That indicator is not fast enough to catch up with those fast moves like this one here or this one here. So we're not going to pay attention to this one. And every time we see a sharp move like that, we just ignore that indicator. Everything else is still in place though. We had the exhaustion already, so that's good. We're back in the oversold area, that's good. Now we're waiting for this one to turn white. And then we're waiting for, we have the blue arrow already, we have the support dots. So now we're waiting for the white arrow. And if the white arrow appears while the price is in there, then we need to see the price to at least come out again before we take the trade, and the stop loss goes right underneath here. And then that's it. And then I'm offline again until tomorrow night. Simple, simple. So yeah, John Doe, I hope you heard that. Like I said, I didn't see your chat comment until a little bit later, but I did respond to it. So if you're still here, you got your answer. If not, maybe you can check back tomorrow and then watch the recording and hear my answer to your question. There's just not a whole lot going on in the chat right now, so I'm not paying that much attention to it. Let me move. Oh, just 50. So if you do hear me, I apologize for not answering right away. Just saw a question for us, I'm sorry. Well, my trading time starts at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2 hours before London opens, and goes until 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 hours before New York closes. This is my trading window. And I usually sit here at around, sometimes at 12 a.m. already, so an hour before my actual trading time starts, because in this case we had the entry actually a little bit earlier. And if I have an entry, I take it. So, but usually the entries happen during my trading window, not outside. That's rare. And in this case, we would have had the entry here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was in the New York session. I just wait until I get an entry. As soon as I have my entry and my stop loss set, that's when I go to bed. And when I wake up, I check on the trade. But usually I sleep around 6 hours, and that's less time than even the quicker trades take, so I'm always fine. Worst case scenario, I wake up and I got stopped out, but usually I'm still in the trade, and then I just manage the trade from there. Which in this case, as you can see, we're now in the next session. If I would have taken that trade yesterday at 10 a.m., I would still be in the trade at this time. So what I did, one rule that I made is, because you never know what happens after New York close. Let's say I would have taken this trade here yesterday on this candle, and then my time ends, my trading time. I would not keep sitting here and watching that trade. At this point, if I'm still in the trade and it's still going, but it's nowhere near an exit yet, at that point I would usually set my stop loss to break even, and then I would set my take profit wherever that blue band is at the time when my window closes. So that would have been right here. So if you look here, we would have hit that already on this candle, if that makes sense. So I'm not gonna sit here and keep watching it for 12 hours or 2 days straight. I'm not gonna do that. So like I said, I take my trade here, and that would have been 10 a.m. And then until here, that's 5 p.m. Oh, that's 3 p.m. So that's 5 hours later. So I would have woken up somewhere around here, probably, because I usually sleep 6 hours. So at that point, I would have set my stop loss to break even, and then would have set my take profit here. And then I would have come back at around 12:30 a.m. again, and I would have already hit my take profit, which would have been right here where that blue band was at that point. So if that makes sense. I know it's not like taking the full trade, but it's still a nice profit, and I really don't want to sit around and wait. So another trading management rule I have is, once price hits the middle band, which is that dotted line in basically the middle line of the blue band, once price closes above it, that's where I set my stop loss to break even, not before. So in this case, right here is where it closes below the middle line. That's where I would have put my stop loss to break even. However, since we're already out of the trading window, in this case I would have set my stop loss to break even right here, even though we were not quite at the middle line. So that's another trading rule that I have in place. Yeah, but like I said, I get to the computer. Most of the times we get the entry right around after 1 a.m., right before London opens, or right when London opens. So those trades are nice because you just take your entry and go back to bed. That's perfect. Sometimes, like yesterday, the entry didn't show up until 10 a.m. in the morning. So I prepare myself for that. I usually take a nap in the evening. Then I get up at around 12, have a little bit of coffee. By 12:30, I'm usually at the chart, and then just double check the higher time frames and whatnot, and see what's going on. And sometimes you get an entry early, like this entry came right around 11:30, I think. Let me check. This was 1 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So that was actually 9:30 p.m. where the actual entry came, because it was outside of that window. So I would have probably been sleeping, so I wouldn't have woken up until right around here. But even then, you can still Let's say you wake up here, you can still take the trade here. That's, in that case, you have a 21 pip stop loss, but you still make, you still take 70 pips home, so that's a 1 to 3.5. Still not bad. Okay. But yeah, usually I wait until I get my signal in the session, which would have been here in this case. And then I take my entry, set my stop loss, and then I go to bed. Sleep for 5-6 hours and then come back to the charts to check. Here, for example, that's a perfect example here. We had actually, the actual entry was here, in this case, which was right between sessions. However, as you can see, this is where the session starts. We had everything already confirmed. Everything was check marked. All the conditions were met. So in this case, what I would do is just wait for the price to come back outside of the band, which it did. It closed right here, outside of the white band. So that would have been my entry right here. Entry, stop loss, and then go back to bed. So that was like, what was it, 1 hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hours. So it was 30 minutes into London session when we had the entry. That's perfect. So you only sit here for a couple of hours, take your entry, set your stop loss, and go to bed. Same here. We had the entry here on those candles, and that happens to be right at the 1 a.m. mark. So I literally would have, like I said, I go to the chart at 12:30. I would have been sitting here for an hour, taking my entry, set my stop loss, and then go back to bed. So those are the perfect days where you get the entry right around the 1 a.m. mark, where my trading time starts. That's perfect. You know, it's literally like 30 minutes into my trading time I get my entry. Let me see here. That was 1, 2. Yeah, let's say 3 hours here would have been my entry. 3 hours into the session, and then back to bed. And then by the time I wake up, it would have been down here somewhere. Here, okay, that was like in the New York session again, where we had the entry. That was literally right at 3 p.m. at the end of the trading. So like I said, it varies. But there's a good amount of time, like here, for example, see? This was the beginning of the trading session. We had all the confirmations. Let me just double check, yeah. So literally on the opening, you could have taken a trade at 1 a.m. and then go back to bed. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours where it hits the bottom here. So you wake up and close the trade and you're done for the day. This would have not been an entry because the white band didn't come out. However, I would have closed the trade down here. Let me see here. Yeah, that was a... Yeah, that's one of those days where you don't trade. There is an entry there, but it's like towards the end, and if I see this going on, I'll go back to bed. Yeah, band came out here, and then we wouldn't have gotten the entry until here, so yeah, that's a shitty day. Let's see here. That was New York session again, right in the middle of the trading. Here we had an early entry, so that was 2, 3, right around 4 was the entry, 4 a.m. So 2 hours into London, so you take your trade here, and then you would have probably woken up somewhere around here, close the trade, done. Um, there was not really an entry here. Okay, see, on this day, there was no trade. No trade. Wow. Here we had the entry 2 hours. Well, that's the white arrow. Okay. And everything else, yep. So here we had the entry 2.5 hours into my trading session, which is right where London opens. Like 15 minutes into London Open. Yeah, see, those are the nice ones where you have all the confirmations before the trading session actually starts, and it even started to go down already. However, then 1 a.m. comes in, and you can see here, boom, comes right out. So you can take your trade right here, literally on the first candle of the session. That's why I like the 1 a.m. to 3 p.m. time, because this happens so often where you get your entry right at the beginning of that 1 a.m. session. You wouldn't believe it. Happens so many times. Those are the really nice trading days because you literally sit at the chart for like 45 minutes and you have your entry and you go back to bed and that's it. Yeah, London opens up my time 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. at night. And my trading session starts at 1 a.m. So if you live in London, that would be, 9 a.m. when your London session, or when a London session starts in London actually. Is it 9 a.m. or 8 a.m.? I don't even know. I know it's 8 or 9 a.m. your time. So whatever your London trading or London Open is, you would have to be at the charts 2 hours before that. It happens so many times that you get an entry right at around 1 a.m. before London even opens. (8 a.m. So you would have to be at the chart at 6 a.m. latest. More like 5:30ish. Yeah, I'm not good with times. But whatever your usual opening time is of the session, you would have to be there, like, I would recommend like 2.5 hours before it opens, because that you get literally like 50 to 60% of your entries before London actually opens. No kidding. I saw it so many times where my entry is literally within the first hour of my trading session, which is my trading session starts 2 hours before London opens. So if you wait until London open, then you might have even missed the trade already. Sometimes they do come back in London. They like to play around. Then you get lucky, but not always. So if you wait for London open to sit at the charts, then you actually might miss the trade. Oh, look at that. So see, now we got the dot here. So that's another confirmation. This actually does turn white now. It's about to. It's at least flickering, so that's good. We need to wait for this one. And then we need to wait for the white arrow. And then depending on where the white arrow is, we might have to wait for a price to come back out of the band. So we're looking good here. So we're now 30 minutes into London session. So they're gonna bring price back again. That's my guess. It's wicked how accurate those TMA bands are when you use them the correct way. It's almost like a freaking map for the price, where price is gonna go. That's why I'm so fixated on TMA band strategies, because if you have the right combination of indicators, man, you can make a lot of money with those bands. And if you know how to use them. A lot of people don't like to use them. Oh, the repaint and Yes, they do, but they still give you a rough idea of where price is going to go. And if you then find other indicators that help you pinpoint those entries, you golden. That's my opinion. So yeah, so we have two dots here. We have the blue arrow behind there. You can't really see it. Actually, let me make this one a little bigger so we can see better. Here are all the indicators we want to see. Number three. So here was your chance to see all the indicators. Anyway, yeah, so we could see the blue arrow behind it better. So we had the blue arrow here. We have two of the dots. We have the support dots. Exhaustion, oversold. This started to turn white already, so it's looking good. So I'm just waiting for the white arrow now. And then when the white arrow appears, I have to check the status of if you already have the buy arrow, or sometimes you get a sell arrow here and then you get the white arrow. So if that happens, I would have to wait for another green arrow. Or like here, when I get the white arrow and then I get resistance dots, then I would have to wait for the support dots to come in again before I can take the trade. Yeah, looking good, so we might get an entry here soon. Very nice. Yeah, and this system is not designed to find the exact bottom and top. So if you're expecting this, you need to get that out of your head, but it's pretty close to the bottom and top, or as close as it can be. So you have to get used to it. You know, a lot of people are fixated on, oh, I need to find the exact top and the exact bottom. You will never be able to do that. But this system here, or this template, brings you pretty close to the top and bottom, close enough to still have a really good risk-reward ratio. So I'm pretty happy with it. And also helps you to stay in the trade for the full move. There's no fixed risk-reward ratio. I mean, you can if you want to. That's up to you. But, you know, why close the trade early when you know there's more to come? That's basically throwing money out of the window. Okay, my trade size is set. So my trade size for the official first trade is 3 lots and 3.33 lots. That's my trade size. That equals 1% risk with a 30 pip stop loss. But usually the stop loss is a little bit lower. And I like to move it away. I don't like to put the stop loss right above the support dots. I usually like to have a little bit of distance in between, because sometimes they come back and just spike it a little bit for stop hunts, and you know, if you put it right above the top, then you're screwed. So I like to give the trade a little bit of room. That's why I calculate my stop loss and lot size based on a 30 pip stop loss, which I never had a 30 pip stop loss, so that's plenty of room to where I don't have to think. I'm prepared. I know exactly my trading size, and that's it. I know it's not optimal, and you could basically squeeze a little bit more out of each trade, but it's still enough. You know, if you think about it, $33.30 per pip, and you have a 70 pip move and then a 100 pip move, your challenge is done. So you have 2 trades and you're done with the challenge. If you think about that. So it doesn't have to be exact. I'm right around 1% or a little bit less risk per trade. And then of course if I close a trade and profit, then I'll update my amount in my spreadsheet. I think I showed that before. Yeah, so I just put in the new account size here, and then it gives me my new trading size down here. So that's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be exact. As long as you stay within the 1% range. I would never go higher than 1% on a challenge. I mean, it never happened with this strategy, where I actually lost 5 trades in a row. Usually when I lose a trade, it's right at the beginning when I enter the trade, where they go for a stop hunt, like an hour or 2 hours in. And if I happen to be still awake at that point, I can definitely re-enter if all the other conditions are still met. And then you have a 1% loss. Yes, it's not fun, but you're still gonna make it back on the move. Let me see, I had one like this when I did the free trial. Let me see if I can find it, so you know what I'm talking about. Give you an example. Where was it? Sorry for the scrolling. I'm just trying to find that stop or that trade that I lost. Here it is. Yeah. So we had price coming out. Everything was lining up fine. We had all the the arrow didn't come in until here, so I had to wait for price to come out of the band again, which it did here. So I grabbed it here, but my stop loss here. And then it even went, oh no, that was actually a break-even trade, because you said, see, that's why I set my stop loss to break-even once I'm at the middle line, because then came back and it did stop me out at break-even. So I did not lose that trade, but it did stop me out at break-even. But even then, I got a new entry right here. Stop loss here was actually a better stop loss, and then it just took off. So that's why I have that rule in place that once price hits the middle line, I put my stop loss to break even, because of those situations where they like to come back again and do a stop hunt and then take it in the direction where they wanted to take it in the first place. But yes, it can happen that you enter trade and then it stops you out without going to the middle line first. But even then, it's not a big deal. You know, you get stopped out here and then you get a new entry right afterwards here and here, and that's usually the trade that goes into your direction. So even if you lose a trade here and there, which is very rare. I mean, you saw how far I had to go back to find one. Usually you lose one trade, and worst case scenario is that you do not get an entry. I think that happened once too, where I got stopped out and I did not get an entry because it was literally just a spike down and right back up. So it was too big of a stop loss for me to take that trade, so I let it go. But that happens very rare. It's very rare that you get a stop out, and then 50% of the times when you get stopped out, you get a re-entry right away, and then the trade usually goes into your direction. So it's very rare that you lose 2 consecutive trades in a row. I've never had that happening in the whole time I was working on the system. So usually if I do get stopped out, I get 50% of the times I do get a re-entry right away, and the other 50% of the times is when they just spike it down real quick and then all the way up again, and then the stop loss is just too big for me, where I don't take the trade. But yeah, you know, if you lose one trade here and there, that's really not a big deal. I never had 5 consecutive losses, let me put it that way. I think there was, when I was still, okay. when I was still working on the strategy, we had Ukraine war breaking out that night, which I didn't know because it happened literally that night, and I didn't watch the news. I didn't know what was going on, but market was going crazy that night, and I lost 2 trades in a row. That was the only time that I actually lost two times in a row, and ever since I made a rule that if I have 2 consecutive stop outs or stop losses hit, I walk away from the chart. If I lose once, that's not a big deal. Like I said, 50% of the times when you lose a trade, you get a re-entry right away, so I just take the next entry. Or if it's too far out because they just spiked it and back and forth real quick, then I do not take the trade. That's it. But if I do get a re-entry, I take a re-entry, and if I lose that trade again, then I just walk away for the day. That's another rule that I added later on because of that happened with the Ukraine war, because if I would have kept going, I would have lost like 4 or 5 trades in a row. And if you're in a prop firm challenge, you only have like a 5% drawdown max. You know, you risk 1% per trade. You lose 4 or 5 times in a row, you get fairly close, or you lose the challenge, so it's not worth it. So after that happened with the Ukraine war, that's when I added the rule: if I lose once and I get a re-entry, I take it. If I lose twice in a row, I stop trading for the day. I'll come back the next day. And then usually, because that is very unusual, I check the news and see what's going on, or why the market was going crazy, and did not follow the strategy as expected. And that night where it happened, where I lost 2 times in a row, or actually 3 times in a row, because I didn't have the rule in place at that point. That happened at night when the Ukraine war actually started, and I had no idea because I was not watching the news. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't see any red news on the Forex factory calendar, which I usually check, so I know when there's important news on the British pound or US dollar coming out. Then I still trade on those because they actually work usually in my favor with the system. But just in case I see something unusual happen, at least I know what's going on. But even that was not on there was nothing on the calendar. No important news releases on Forex Factory, nothing. And I lost 3 trades in a row. And I was like, okay, something's not right. And that's when I started looking into news outlets and YouTube and see what's going on. And then I found the Ukraine war, where it was released that they just attacked the Ukrainians. It was on the first night where the war started. I had no clue what was going on, and that just made the market go crazy. So after that happened, I added a rule where I say, okay, 1 loss is not a big deal. If I do get another entry, I take it. If I lose 2 trades in a row, I walk away from the charts, and then look into, you know, the economy and what's going on to see what can cause that, because that's not normal. 1 trade stop hunt, that's very possible, and it does happen occasionally, but usually never 2 trades in a row. Okay, so we're coming back now. We have 3 dots actually. I would have been happy with 1, but I take 3. They repaint actually, they settle down. This is a repainting indicator, but this might settle down to 1 or 2 dots later on when you look back. But for the strategy or entry criteria, all you have to see is at least 1. And we have 3, so that's more than enough. We got the blue arrow already, green arrow, we got the support dots. Everything looks good. We're just waiting for those to switch to white, and then we're waiting for a white arrow. And possibly a buy arrow again if this goes into sell again. If you see a red arrow here, and then we get the white arrow, then we would have to wait for the green arrow to come in. If you get a red resistance here, resistance dots, and then we get the white arrow, then we would have to wait for the green support dots again to come in. So if one of the criteria is basically negated by the time we get the white arrow, then we would have to wait for that to come back into play in order to take the trade, if that makes sense. I'm just explaining away so you get an idea of how the system works. I'd rather explain it 10 times in 20 different ways, and then you get an idea how it works, hopefully over time, and then it should be easier for you to trade that system. Okay, let's keep 4 out. Wow. Okay. Okay. So looking good, we might get an entry here soon. It might be one of those situations here where we hit the top, come down, and then go back up and get the entry. So this might be a similar situation here where we go up and then come back down, get the entry, and then take off. So let's see what happens. Patience. And this might as well be the bottom here. But like I said, I do not guess. I'd rather take a little bit higher of an entry and have a confirmed entry than risking it on a possible bottom when it goes further down. I don't guess anymore. I just follow my rules, and then when I have my entry, I take my entry. Doesn't have to be the bottom or the top. There's still enough room in between. Okay. Hey, we got one viewer. Welcome, welcome. Or is that you, Foss? You back? Yeah, I didn't expect a big crowd tonight since I haven't been active for so long. But hopefully now, starting to live stream this challenge, maybe we get a few more viewers over the next few nights. It would be nice. I mean, I can't complain. I was the one having to take a break from everything. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I get tired, so that's why I said once I take my entry, I walk away from the charts and go to sleep. And then I'll take a look when I wake up. I mean, you could, let's say you take an entry here and you do what I said, like set your stop loss up here. If it makes you feel better, you could set your take profit where the blue band is on the other side. So in case it's a quick up and down, at least you get your profit target hit. It's probably a good idea to set a profit target here, and then when you wake up and it's not there, you can remove the profit target and just follow the trade. But yeah, that's probably a good idea. If you take your trade and walk away, take your entry, set your stop loss a little bit above here or below here, and then to set your profit target to where the blue band is on the other side. So in case it is a quick move, you at least get a nice profit out of it. It's probably the smarter thing to do here. Okay. And then if you wake up and it hasn't hit your profit target, you can keep managing the trade manually until you get an exit signal. I probably would have closed, if I would have taken a trade, I would have closed it out here. If I get a full bearish candle, meaning in my trade direction, outside of the band of 4 candle like this, where it doesn't even touch the band at all, I would have closed the trade here from experience. So yeah, this might have been the bottom here, but it's not confirmed yet, so we still gotta wait for all the confirmations to come in. There's no guesswork here. We're almost there now. It also helps if you, especially with this strategy, if you learn about the smart money concept. You could see that even though this didn't break a higher low here, but you can see where price came back into. We had this consolidation and then a move away from it. So this is a rally-based drop in the smart money concept, and even though it did not break a low, but it would confirm that entry here, with especially when the white arrow appears here, because you're right in that order block area here, and then it just goes down from here. So it does help a little bit with, like I said, even though that's technically not a smart money concept, would have been more like here, because we actually broke a low, a higher low here. So, you know, you have an order block here and then you have an entry here. That would have been more like the smart money concept, but in my strategy would have had the entry right here, which still is in that rally-based drop basically situation inside that order block. So it does help a little bit if you know smart money concept. But if you do follow a smart money concept, then you wouldn't have an entry until here, because you would have had to see that low break first and then price to come back in the order block area, which is, there's not much different really. What is that? Like 10 pips. Still a good entry. All right, what's going on? Give me an entry. Oh, it's flickering white again. Now we just need to pull back and hopefully the white arrow and we're good. This needs to turn white too, by the way. But it's looking good. This might have been the bottom here. See what happens. And here also smart money concept. If you consider this a lower high, then we did have a chalk here, if you're familiar with smart money concept. So that's another confirmation for a reversal. And then hopefully it comes back into this order block area here, and we can take the trade somewhere here. But this, if you're familiar with smart money concept, this works very well with smart money concept together. It complements smart money concept very nicely, and it helps a little bit in your entry decisions if you have a little bit of background in that area. I'm just not good with finding I'm not stupid, so I would be able to find trend directions on the higher time frames and all that, but honestly I'm just lazy Just makes it a lot easier. I do check the higher time frame before I start my session, just to get a general idea, but that's it. So okay, we're white here, as you can see. I did not expect that. I thought this would be the first one, but it's even better because I like it when this one turns white first and then this one turns white after. I don't like it when I do it at the same time, or if the bottom one comes in later. I like it more like here, where we have the bottom one coming in, and then we have the top coming in white. That's my preferred order, because when that happens, I usually know I get a really good entry, which in this case I would have had right here. So, very nice. Or we might not get an entry at all. It just keeps going up. That's not nice. Rude. And that would be a bummer. I mean, it does happen, like I said. It doesn't always come back, but let's see what happens. If we don't get an entry, we don't get an entry. Like I said, I calculate my trading size or lot size based on a 30 pip stop. So then if I do get an entry and it's over 30 pips, I just don't take the trade. I just wait for the next one. Yeah, and I prefer my entry to be still outside of the band, so I don't take a trade if, let's say, my entry is within the white band or already in the blue band. I don't take it. I would have exited my trade that I took here if I would have taken it here, because if I see this again, long bearish candle, completely outside of the band, it doesn't even touch the band in any way, it's completely outside of the band, I would have exited my trade here, because that's usually a sign, like here, that we're close to the end and it's just a few pips. I would have missed out on, well, I would have gone 60s. What is GBP USD doing? It doesn't even take a break. It just broke this. Maybe it needs to break this high and then comes back. But I would consider this a, well, it's more like an inside candle. Well, let's see what happens. There's always something new. But it didn't break that high. Interesting. Well, like I said, I follow my rules to a T, and if that means that I don't get an entry that I can take, then I don't take it. I'll just wait for the next one. It would be funny if it goes all the way up and we get a sell entry then. I don't think I had that happen yet. We didn't even get the white arrow yet. It's already at the middle line. Huh. Well, let's see what happens. It's kind of interesting, actually. I don't think I had that happen before. Let me check. I think I did check earlier on. Yeah. Oh wait, today is, no wait, Tuesday. So we don't have anything going. I have it filtered to only show the red folders on Forex Factory. So we don't have anything related to the pair that we are trading until Friday. So there's no news here that would affect it. But this is very unusual behavior. I wonder if there's something else going on. Let me check on YouTube if there's any news. They do have a news section here, right? Posts. Yeah, I don't know what YouTube is doing. They used to have a news section, and which I found very useful, but then they removed it again. I don't know why. Doesn't make any. Okay, hold on. Let me just. Oh no, I can't filter because I'm not looking for anything. Great. Where can I find my news here? Come on, YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. Let me refresh. I don't see anything news related. It's very strange. No news on Forex Factory. No news in the news. And this thing is just shooting up straight. Okay, now we have both of them white. And now price is already almost on the other side. I wish you would have known it, stuff like that before it happens, but we don't, unfortunately. So now we're going to probably get the white arrow and it's going to be on the other side already. Well, in that case, we would have missed that trade, but maybe we get a entry going down again. This is strange though, that never happened. It just goes straight up. No break. Unless, and now I'm thinking smart money concept again, it needs to break this lower high here first and then comes down maybe into this order block here. Let me just draw that out. This would be the full order block. This would be without the upper wick. Some people draw it with wick, some people draw it without. I personally like to draw it without. Let me take this away. So this would be the order block. If it breaks it here, then we might get an entry down here. It hasn't broken at a high though. Nope. Yeah, so now we have everything in place, but price is already on the other side. Gotta love the humor in that. I really, honestly, like I said, I was working in the system for all in all, with the old system, if you take that into consideration, more than a year. And I just never had a straight going up before you even get all the confirmations for an entry. It's already on the other side. That is funny. That's a first for me too. But like I said, worst case scenario, when in doubt, stay out. So if it doesn't look right, don't sweat it. But we'll see what happens here. It did break that high now. So we had that confirmation It's usually a confirmation for a possible trend change. So maybe we get a pullback here into this order block or this order block. There's a second one right here. Right here. Let's see what Fibonacci says. Yeah, they're both past the 50% retracement, so they would be both valid. Let's see what happens. I'm just gonna leave them here. That's just for me. It has nothing to do with my strategy. It's just I also fiddle around in smart money concept and just want to see how that works out with the order blocks here. Oh, actually, you know what? I did found an indicator for order blocks. Let me see what the indicator says here. Actually seems to be a good indicator. I just found it a couple of days ago. Nah. Let me remove that. Delete. Where is it? Order block, there it is. That shows only that order block, okay. It's a pretty neat indicator that kind of like shows you the order blocks. But they draw it with the wick, and then they have that white line that draws it to the body. So that's where I usually draw my order block. I don't include the upper wick in this case. Just the body with the candle and the full wick to the downside. Surprised it doesn't, well, this candle hasn't closed yet. This might actually show up as an order block when this candle closes too. There's a possibility. Let's see. That's kind of interesting though, because I never had that like go all the way to the other side of the band before we get an entry. And there's no news, so I don't know why it's so, I guess, volatile. It's strange. Oh, yeah, okay. I just saw your chat messages first, I'm sorry. I was looking for news, so I didn't have that chat open anymore. But thanks for stopping by, I appreciate it. If you watch this later or tomorrow. Oh, I totally have the wrong title here. Let me see if I can edit that. Let me edit that title, it's actually not right. FTMO 50K. Challenge. Okay. Day 1. I can leave that in. Okay, that's good. Had the wrong title here. Yeah, like I said, it has been a while since I've been doing live streaming and stuff like that. At least a half year. if not more, probably more like 9 months. So I'm a little rusty. Okay. So now we got the white arrow here. This is white now. This is white. I would like to see a pullback to right around this area here, which would coincide with the order block. And then we probably get a sell error, so we would have to wait for a buy error again once it hits here to take the trade. So let's see, let me remove that order block thingy again. Order block, delete. Let me move this over here. Okay. So we got pretty much all the confirmations here. Just need a pullback to here where we can take the trade. What would that be? Let me see. Okay, never mind. That's 36 pips down. That's a little bit too, well, let's see how far it comes down. Let me put a line where 30 pips is. So I like to keep my stop loss a little bit lower, so right around here. And 30 pips would be right here. Okay. So let me put a line here. Okay, so if price comes below that line, I'm interested. If not, then I'm not interested in taking the trade. Yeah, I don't take a trade if it's over 30 pips stop loss. I'd rather stay out and wait for the next one. Usually you have, I would say, the usual stop loss is right around 10 to 15 pips. I wouldn't mind 20 pips, even 22. I had one with 22. That's still, once it goes 25 up, that's when I usually stay out. That's just very unusual, especially since we don't have any news going on right now, that it is that volatile. Like I said, I couldn't find any Forex factory news. I couldn't find any news in a news outlet that would cause such a volatile move on pound dollar. So I don't know what's going on. And again, when in doubt, stay out. Simple as that. There's always a new day. It sucks if you sit here for hours and wait and nothing happens, but you know, it happens. That's the way the market works. You don't control the market, and the market controls the market, and you can just sit there and hope you get an entry. And if you don't get an entry, then you walk away and come back the next day. It is what it is. Okay. Hello. Why's my clock popping up? Let me see what. Okay. Yeah, and I kind of like, because it just popped in my head, I kind of already explained that, but this strategy does work with other pairs. However, not every pair is as smooth as the pound dollar. Not even Euro USD. Euro USD likes to spike a lot. They fake you out a lot on Euro USD because it's the most traded pair. So I usually like to stay away from it. Euro USD is notorious for stop hunts. GBP USD I found to be the smoothest, most calm pair to trade, and it still moves a good amount of pips every day. I think right around now it's about roughly 100 pips average a day. Actually, I can check. Hold on. Let's see. I do have. I'll move this over here so I can find it. Give me 1 second. I actually have a Forex volatility. Oh yeah, there. Found it. So let's see. This is from investing.com. What? No, I don't want to sign up. Where it shows you the Forex volatility. And this is a 10-week average, and you can see that, yeah, it's right around GBP USD average of the last 10 weeks is about 113 pips a day. So it moves a decent amount of pips, and it really works well with my strategy or my template, and it moves very smoothly. There's not a lot of spikes going on with pound dollar. You definitely have more spikes on Euro USD, and Euro USD is usually lower, the volatility. You can see it 92 average over the last 10 weeks, whereas the dollar moves 113 pips a day average. That's why I like pound dollar more than Euro USD. But it does work with other pairs. Here we can go through it real quick while we're waiting here. Oh, this is not in order. I apologize. So here's USD Chef, USD Swiss, and this thing is just going. Wow. But you can see it works with US. You had the entry here, confirmed here, but then we have to wait until it comes out. It comes out here. We had a sell error, so we would have to wait for the buy error again. So here would have been the entry, and then boom. We got the white error here, is confirmed. We'll wait for price to come out again, which happens here. Here's the entry, and then it just takes off. So it does work with other pairs. Let's see Euro USD. Let's see. So it comes out, white arrow. Everything's confirmed, but it's inside the band, so you have to wait. It does come out here. We do have a buy arrow here, so we would have to wait for the red arrow. So entry would have been here. Yeah, works just as well. 10 pip stop loss, and then off you go. You would still, yeah, you could have exited the trade here. If you don't get support dots here, you keep going, even though if it pulls back a little bit. So you probably could have exited the trade here or here. So it does work with Euro USD as well. Let's see USD, Japanese yen. Yeah, this thing has been on an uptrend for weeks now. It's crazy. But oh wow, you got all the arrows in one place here. So it does work as well. Entry here, stop loss here, and then boom. So it does work with USD Japanese yen. Let's see, USD CAD. I don't like CAD pairs, and this is exactly why you can see this. See those ups and downs. I don't like CAD pairs, Canadian dollar pairs. AUD USD is a fairly calm pair to trade too, but it only gives you like half the pips that GBP USD gives you. Definitely stay away from Euro Pound. That thing spikes all over the place. You got spikes everywhere with this pair. Euro AUD is a nice one to trade. Gives you a decent amount of pips, and it works as well. Swiss franc, I stay away. Euro JPY works actually very smoothly too. Moves very smoothly. Here's Swiss franc, CAD. I don't even click on those. Okay, let me show you. Yes, see that? I don't like this when a pair behaves like that. And the Swiss franc is known for that. I stay away from Swiss franc and Canadian dollar. Okay, let's pound yen. I think that's a pretty good pair to trend to, but the yen pairs like to spike and hit stop losses from my experience. I hate Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar with a passion because it's the slowest mover and has the most fake outs. I don't trade this pair at all. I just hate it. Here's Canadian dollar, Swiss franc. Let's see. Oh, JPY. Yeah. JPY pairs. You always got those spikes here and here. Swiss franc, I don't even click on that. Euro NCD is a nice pair to trade too. Fairly smooth. Not as smooth as GBP USD, and it does spike too, but it's manageable. Canadian dollar, don't click on that. NCD JPY, let's check this one out. That should be a yeah, that moves nicely too. NCD USD looks good too. So yeah, there's quite a few pairs you could trade with that strategy. I just find the pound dollar to be the smoothest one and the most calm pair out of all of them. That's why I prefer to trade that one. And you really, I mean, this is rare that it happens like that, especially without news. I don't know what's going on here, but technically we have all the rules are met now, but we don't have the entry yet because it didn't pull back here. And if it does pull back and come below this line, because again this is 30 pips, so it would have to be below that line for me to take the trade. If it does come down here, then we would probably have a sell error here again, like this one here. So if that's the case and it does come down here, then we would have to wait for the buy error again. I just found it really strange that it moved almost to the other side of the band without any news going on. That's just strange. Let me put the chat back on. Keep missing people in the chat. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, this is very unusual. I'm gonna check the news again because I just can't see why it would do that. Let's see, live. Yeah, I don't see anything. That's very strange. I really hate that YouTube took away that news button. That was really handy. You clicked on news and all you got was news reports. And for some reason they took it away. Yeah, just to reiterate that again, if all the conditions are met, which they are now, and price does come back here to our possible entry area, if any of those indicators swings the other way, we would have to wait for the indicator to give the opposite signal again. So we can't just enter on the close when it closes outside the band, like it did here. Because all the other indicators were already flipped in our trade direction. So in this case, we could take the trade right there. But this is this went very high. So if this really does come all the way down here, I expect that a couple of the indicators are gonna switch. And if that happens, of course, we would have to wait for those to switch back before we can take the trade. Let's just watch and see what happens. This is news to me too, like I said. This has never happened before. It just went straight up. I mean, if it does come to the source order block or the premium order block, whatever it's called, then it would have to come down to this level here at least, which would be below our limit. So that would be perfect. And it did break that lower high. So that's technically we had two lower highs broken. This is just this is more like an inside candle, but technically that's a lower high too. So we would have a break in structure here, and we would have a break in structure here. And if it does come back now into this order block, then we could take the trade. So all the other indicators say we're going up too. So that would be a sniper entry here, and then stop loss here. That's what is that? 19 pips. It's not too bad. Could put it a few pips further away just to be safe, and still don't hit the 30 pips. Now let's see if it comes back. Technically we have another base here. Let me just mark that out again so you can see what I'm talking about. So we have this is the premium order block right here. And then technically we have another order block right here. And they're both below, or they're both in the premium, in the discount area. I'm still learning smart money concepts, so bear with me. In a discounted area, because if you check with our fib, they're both below 50% retracement, so they would be both valid. So let's just leave them on the chart and see what happens. Maybe we can take that as a additional confirmation to take the trade if it pops in one of those zones and then goes out again, and everything else in our strategy falls in place, then that would be an additional confirmation. Let's just see what happens. Let's make this nicer. There we go. I highly recommend, by the way, that you learn about smart money concept. It gives you a better idea on why the market is moving the way it is moving. That's the most useful thing I got out of it. It just helps you to understand market movement a lot better and why it is moving the way it is, and gives you more confidence too in your trades. So just as a side note, if you have time, look into smart money concept. It helps a lot. And it's really not that hard. It's just, I would say it's a little overwhelming once when you get into it, when it's all new to you. But once you kind of understand the concept, you pick it up really, really quick. It's not that hard. Let's check what the higher time frame says here. I'm just curious. So we're technically in a downtrend. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, let's go back. No, maybe it comes out of the top again and we get a sell entry here. Then we would actually trade with the trend. Very strange. Yeah, this is really the first time that I know I said it a couple of times now, but I'm just fascinated because that never happened. Where it like takes until price is almost on the other side of the band before all the indicators actually switch. That's new. So now let's see if it comes back. I just don't feel comfortable because the main trend is down right now on the 4-hour chart. I do not feel comfortable taking a long trade with smart money concept because we're basically trading against the trend. If that really comes back here, I would definitely wait for a confirmation here. New territory for me. Right on the first day that I'm back. That's great. Let me open that chat back up. Okay, I can close that. No one's watching. Yay. Great. Well, I have to trade either way, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm really curious how this is going to end up here. This is a weird situation here. Sorry. Put Telegram back up too. We're still going, and we still do not have an entry. It's just my luck. This was right into the session entry. This was right at the beginning of the session. This was close to the beginning of the session. And then I go live, and then this happens. Oh well. So again, I know I explained it a couple of times already, but what we're looking for is preferably for the white band to come out of the blue band, which it did. Once that happens, we want to see price come out of both the bands, which happened too. Then we need to wait for the exhaustion, which we had here too. We need to wait for this to be in the oversold area, which it was. Then we need to wait for those to flip white, which they did. We need the dots, we need the green buy arrow, we need the blue arrow, and we need the white arrow. And then this needs to be green too. And this all happened on this candle, but then it didn't come back out of the band so we could take the trade. This might be just one of those where, well, guess we did not get an entry here. It does, alright, now it comes back. Okay, let's see. Well, we have 2 order blocks. I would not take this one because it's inside the band. And it doesn't follow my strategy, so this is where you can kind of like combine things a little bit. So I would be interested in this order block here, not in this one. Because then we would be in my discount area, so to speak, within my stop loss limit. And we would be outside of the white band and outside of the blue band. So that would be more, this would actually not follow my strategy here, because I don't take trades within the band. So yeah, let me just remove that so I don't confuse people. So if anything, this would be the order block that I'm interested. I guess you call it a demand zone. Yeah, that would be a demand zone here. I always mix supply and demand up. I don't know why. But yeah, this would be a demand zone, and the supply would be something like this here. Yeah. Basically, when you sell, you want to sell from a supply zone. When you buy, you want to buy from a demand zone. Like I said, we do have an order block in here, but that is right in the middle of the band, so I'm not interested in that one because that doesn't follow my strategy. So I would have to take a buy below that white band and below that blue band to follow my strategy. So for me, this would be the order block of interest if we actually make it down there. Let's see. And it also would be within my limit here of 30 pips. I don't take a trade if it's over 30 pips stop loss because my lot size is not calculated on the. I mean, I could change it real quick, but honestly, I don't want to because that usually means something weird is going on in the market, and I have no problem and am happy to stay out of the trade. If that makes sense. Can I actually edit the... Oh yeah, I can upload a thumbnail. Yay! I actually made a thumbnail. There you go. Makes it look nicer. Hey. Okay, now let's see. Let me check again. Okay, back to the chat. Again, if you're watching and you have questions, Um, I keep an eye on the chat now, I am at least. And I also have an eye on the Telegram channel. If I go live tomorrow night, I'm gonna update the description and everything, so you have that all available, including my FX book and whatnot. This was like a last minute decision, and it took me like an hour into my trading session already until I had it up and running, because I haven't done it for so long. I had to update software and settings and everything reset, and I don't know, it was just took me an hour to get everything straightened out and go live. So tomorrow I'll be more prepared, and then I can take more time with the title and description and all the links and whatnot. Today or tonight, I was just happy that I actually was able to go online. Go live. That's what you call it, I guess. So, but in the stream tomorrow night, you're gonna have my Telegram link there, and then also my FX book link for the account, and I have to set that to public first. I couldn't do that before the first trade that I just took this afternoon as a test, because I need to have at least one trade in the history before I can change the settings, set it private, and verify the account and everything. So I think it's not verified yet for some reason. Maybe it is in the meantime. Let me just check here. It wasn't earlier. I think I did all the changes I needed to do for that, but it showed us not verified. Let me just double check real quick if it updated now. No, it still shows it's not verified. And if it's not verified, I cannot set it to public. So I'm gonna look into that tomorrow afternoon. And then you will definitely have the MyFX book link tomorrow, and you will also have the link to the Telegram channel tomorrow. I'm probably gonna move to the Telegram channel or chat completely, and I don't know. Some people prefer the YouTube chat. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep both for now. See what happens. See where I get more people, more questions, more activity. Okay, so price is now coming back. Again, all the other conditions are fulfilled. So we need price to come below the white band and the blue band, and we also need, hopefully, come below that horizontal line, because that's my 30 pip max, and preferably in that order block. That would be perfect. Then I would be willing to take that trade. Cats are going crazy. I apologize. If you hear something running around in the background, that's the cats. They decided to wake up and play around in the middle of the night. That's what cats do. Lily, what are you doing? Crazy kitty. Come on. Lily. No, they're in play mode. Okay. Yeah, like I said, you gotta have patience. And again, since it's made such a huge move up, if it really comes all the way down here, I would assume that some of the indicators flip again. So we would have to wait for them to flip back before we can take the trade. Whichever one flips needs to be flipped back first. So if it does come all the way back, then most likely get a sell error here, which is the orange red one. So if that happens, we would have to wait for the green arrow again, as an example. If you get a white arrow going down, we would have to wait for the white arrow going up again. So you get the idea. That was 70 pips right there. If you would only know that in advance. I'm still surprised that we have so much volatility. I mean, this was the trading session yesterday. If you look at that and then look at this, there's a huge difference. And there's no... Oh, you know what? I haven't checked the... I only checked the red news. Let me check all the news. If there was something that was maybe like medium important. Usually I only look at the red folders. Here it is. Let me move this over so you can see it too. Let me change the filter here. Let's just look at all the news. Apply. Maybe there's something in there. So today is Tuesday, right? Tuesday, June 7th. I see a trade back, but this is not until 8:30. 4:30. There was euro. There was euro. No, there's nothing in there. That's strange. Let me check. Let me check my FX book. Oop. See what we have here. Oh, okay. So there was some news, and that was at 4:30. That's why. Interesting. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So we had... why didn't that show up on Forex Factory? That's weird. Yeah, and that was in favor of the British pound. That would explain it. So I have to... Wow. I have to pay attention to 2 calendars, economic calendars. Great. I'm still surprised that it didn't show up on the Forex Factory calendar. Let me know in the comments if you watched that video, which one you prefer, the MyFX book economic calendar or the Forex Factory economic calendar. It seems like the MyFX book gets more of the news. Forex Factory is not that extensive. But yet, this would explain it. That would explain the volatility. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you prefer, MyFX book or Forex Factory. Seems like MyFX book won tonight, I guess, because it actually displayed that news, but Forex Factory did not. So I guess I would have to check both of them in the future. Okay, well that would explain that. Yeah, because like I said, if you look in comparison yesterday, nowhere near that volatility that we had right out of the gate today. Let's see if we're coming down here again. I mean, with the positive news on the British pound, I'm almost willing to just set a pending order here at that order block with a stop loss right underneath it and and see if we could get an entry. That would be fantastic. Oh, wait a minute, the volatility started at midnight, right around midnight, a little bit after midnight. And the news was at 4:30. Huh. It's still strange. I have no logical explanation for that volatility. It's very strange. Because it's only 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time now, and the news came out 30 minutes ago, so right around in this area. So this was all before the news. Huh. This could have been a setup too. Having that strong move down, and then a strong move up, and then positive news on the pound right around this area. So maybe this was to trap buyers in here to then bring it all the way down to the order block. That would make sense. Yeah, because the news came out right around here, so most people thought maybe this is a retracement. Let me hop in here, because we got positive news on the pound dollar, and then ride it up, and now it's gonna retrace all the way down to the order block. Pick up all the liquidity. That would make sense. Would definitely fit the profile of large institutions messing with the retail traders. Okay, see, this is what I meant. So now we have, I'm just going to move that a little bit higher, but just imagine that to be down here, because we have the support dots here. That was my phone, sorry. And now we have the resistance dot here. See that red dot? So that's one indicator that flipped. And also we have the white arrow that flipped. So as price is coming down here, we would have to wait for the white arrow flipping up again, and also a green support dot again. And this switched to blue now, so this turned into a 4-hour support now. So that's good. So yeah, so that's what I said before. If an indicator flipped while it's coming down, we would have to wait for them to flip back before we can take the trade. We can't just wait for the price to come outside of the band and take the trade. So I hope it makes more sense now that it's actually happening. So with whatever buy indicator flips on the way down, would have to flip back before we can take the trade. The good thing is the band did not go out on the other side, so from what my template is telling me and the indicators, we should continue up after retracement, and hopefully that retracement goes right into the order block here, right here at that level, and then I would have my stop loss right underneath here. So let's see. Let's see what happens. wonder if it would bother people if I would play music too. That sounds probably crappy over the microphone. Probably not a good idea. I could use headphones. That would work. Yeah, like I said, I'm very tempted to just put a limit order here with a stop loss underneath here and then call it a night and see what happens when I wake up. Because according to the indicator, the band just came out, the white band just came out here on the bottom. So technically, if it follows you can see it here if I zoom out a little bit, you can see how the indicator always comes out on the bottom and comes out on the top, comes out at the bottom, comes out at the top, comes out at the bottom, comes out at the top. So it always follows that. So technically the band needs to come out here next. So that would mean we would continue up. And since we have that order block here and the positive news on a dollar, just makes me think that it just comes back to the order block and then continues up. Especially with the 4-hour support dot here now, the blue one. But then again, it's a challenge, so I don't want to just throw in a maybe trade, if that makes sense. But I'm getting tired and I don't see any other way this would play out. It's almost worth it. I mean, if you have an entry here and stop loss here and then a target here, what is that? That's 19 pips and then 85 pips going up. That's a good risk reward ratio. No, I'm just gonna wait it out. I mean, something's gotta give. But yeah, you can see like how you can definitely combine this template with smart money concept easily. Because according to smart money concept, we had a chalk here. Because we cleared, hold on, let me zoom out a little bit. We cleared liquidity from this low here. We cleared that and then we went up and broke two. We had two break of structures here. I mean, you can argue about it. Could be one break of structure or two. For me, I see two. One here and one here. So we have a perfect chalk here that also takes out liquidity to the bottom. So, and even though we have an order block here too, this order block does not comply with my strategy, because according to my strategy I cannot take a trade in the band, which that would be in the band right here. So it leaves only this order block, and this is the premium order block anyway. So yeah, but that shows you how you can combine that if you have a little bit of knowledge of the smart money concept without having to go on higher time frames and look at trade directions and mark out your higher time frame order blocks and whatnot. Now this works pretty well. Hi, Lily. What you doing, Mama? I have the kitty cat here. Hi, Mama. What you doing? They're chasing Lady, huh? They were chasing each other around earlier. And I was just sitting here next to me looking at me like, what are you doing? She's not used to hear me talking all night. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna wait it out because I'm curious. I want to see what happens here. Plus, it's a challenge, so I don't want to like risk it on a vague idea of smart money concept. I'm just gonna wait for confirmation and do it the right way. It's unfortunate that it takes that long, but it is what it is. Yeah, guys, definitely check out my Forex economic calendar in the future, because it looks like they have a lot more events marked out on their calendar compared to the Forex Factory calendar. It almost looks like Forex Factory became a little bit lazy. And again, would love to hear your opinion on that. Which one you prefer? Or if you don't look at a calendar at all, that would be nice too. And why you don't? Love to hear some input. I'm always willing to learn new things too. Also, if you have any questions about what I mentioned so far, feel free to leave a comment. I will definitely get back to it before the live stream tomorrow. And I will be back tomorrow around 12:45ish. So 12:30 is usually Eastern Standard Time at night. So whatever that is in your time zone. 2.5 hours before London session is usually when I get to the charts, which is 12:30 a.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time. And then I usually like to take a look at the charts real quick in higher time frames, and also the news. And then I can do that within 10-15 minutes, and then I go live after that. So right around 12:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna be live again tomorrow, and hopefully we get lucky tomorrow, because I don't know, it's very unusual. It's hard to explain, but I've been trading this system trading and developing the system for a year now, and I know I mentioned that before, but I never saw that this pattern happen at all, where it goes all the way to the other side before it actually comes back for an entry. It's very, like I said, it's the news, I get that, but the news didn't kick in until this candle here. So everything before that was pre-news. It's very strange. I'm sorry. It's getting late here, or early. Whatever way you look at it. Just gonna go on a 4 hour real quick. I'm sorry. Just wanna check. But yeah, 4 hours down. Is this where my line is? And this is my order block. Okay. Was there order block here? Yeah, but that was already... That's weird. Yeah, you can see my order block here. So if you look at it that way, you have 20 to the downside and you have 122 to the upside. I'm not sure if that's gonna come back. It definitely swept the liquidity down here. But then again, we are still on a downtrend, so strange. Okay, let me go back to the 15 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the M5. Also no valid entry. That's so strange. Okay, back to the 15 minute. Yeah, the only logical explanation for this volatility is that this was constructed on purpose by the big institutions to have that positive news release for the pound coming out right around this candle here, and then using that to trap buyers. You know, if you see a news release positive for the dollar and then you see this huge move up, you expect this to be just a short pullback and then possibly jumping into a trade somewhere here, like now that it goes up again, like here. And of course you're gonna have stop losses right here, people going long, so it would be a perfect setup for them to take the market all the way down to the order block here and stop all those people out, take the liquidity and use that liquidity with the push into the order block to then move the market up in the intended direction. That's the only thing that makes sense to me here. That was just constructed by the big institutions right before the news release to take advantage of that. We'll see what happens here. So yeah, so now we have the sell error here. Definitely saw that coming. We have the resistance starts here, so now we have the white arrow disappeared. So we have two indicators that flipped to the other side, so we would have to wait for those two to flip back in order to take the trade. Let's see. So we would have to get some green support dots here somewhere and then wait for that arrow. However, I'm just gonna call it before it happens. If price really retraces all the way to the order block and I get a dot here, I'm willing to jump in without waiting for the buy arrow. because then we are definitely in a premium area to take a trade here, or very discounted area. Let me put it that way. That's probably the proper way to say it. And if we get a dot here when the candle closes, then it's worth it for me to take the trade if it's within the order block still. That would be worth the risk, because then we're only risking about 15 pips with a possible upside of 90 pips or even more. So that would be worth it for me. What is that? It would be a 1-to-6 risk reward ratio. And then usually we wait for the price to come out of the band, so probably more like 100 to 110 pips in total. And that with a 15 pip stop loss, that's worth it to me. That could be half of my challenge right there in one trade, or even more than half. That was a very strong move. We had something similar happen here, and even further down. But then it was like settling in and then moving up. Here it just instantly went all the way back up. Sorry, I like to scroll back and look at previous history. I apologize if then. I know some people don't like that, but I'm still learning too. Just try to get a better idea of what's going on here, that's all. If you're in the Forex market for a little while, you probably heard that already, that people say, well, why does price go down if it was positive for that pair? Shouldn't it go up? Or the other way around. It's like, oh, it was totally negative news. Why is the price going up? It should be going down. And I think this is just a constructed trap from the institutions to make the strong up move right before the news comes out. And then on this candle, we had positive news. So I bet you that between the opening of this candle and where we are right now, that there's dozens, hundreds, thousands of buy orders. People trying to take advantage of that news, positive news for the dollar, expecting it to just make a small retracement and then go up. And if I'm correct, I mean, like I said, I'm just offering a theory here, but it doesn't need to be true, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But they would induce buyers here with this move, and then as soon as they have enough stop loss, because where do buyers put the stop loss? Right underneath here. So as soon as they have enough stop losses here, then they're going to push the market down here to the order block, negate their own selling orders from here earlier, take all that liquidity with them, and then move the price up. That would make sense. yeah. Aha, that's funny. Now it shows that order block. Okay, it shows both of them. Here we go. So see, as I said, there's an order block here. Good job. And we did have a bounce off of it. But again, I'm not convinced because usually you don't take trades within the band. So this could be a fake upward move to collect orders, or setting up stop losses here and even here to then push the price all the way down to this order block and then up. I'm going to just activate the 5-minute order blocks to see where the order block in the order block is. Yeah, see here, the 5-minute order block from the 5-minute chart is actually here, so this would not be a valid bounce anyway, and that would mean that this order block only goes to here, which would make it a lot more interesting. Actually, yeah, because I'm sorry guys, I'm getting tired. I'm just gonna set a pending order at this level. That's below the hold on guys, I gotta silence my phone. I have my phone set up for notifications when some of my indicators give me a signal, so I don't have to sit in front of the charts all day and night. Okay, so yeah, the reasoning, okay, let me show you. So this order block is the 15-minute order block, and that's the only order block I'm interested in, since this one is sitting right inside my band, and then just doesn't go along with my strategy. And in the 15-minute order block, this big one, we have a 5-minute order block here, which is based on the 5-minute chart. So it's basically a refined order block down to the 5-minute chart. So as a compromise, I go below the 15-minute order block and a little bit above the 5-minute order block to hopefully catch an entry here, which is right here on the opening closing of this candle, and then I'm going to set my stop loss right underneath here, which will bring it down to 17 pips, and my upside would be probably to here around 90 pips. So that's a good risk reward for me. Just need to adjust my stop loss here. Give me a second. We said 17 pips, yeah. 17 pips. Oh, I'm not sure if you can do that on a limit order. No, you can't. Okay. Let me just copy and paste the stop loss here and take profit. Might as well set that. So we're going down a little bit here, and then we're going up a little bit here. Okay, modify. Okay, so we have the stop loss. We put this stop loss right here, right around 17 pips, 17.3. That's good. And then, just in case, right at that high, which we should break if I'm correct. So that I'm risking $576 for a profit of 3,000. So that's not quite a 1-to-6, but I hope I'll be awake if that happens before I get to the take profit and can then manually manage the trade again. But I need some sleep. So, and if you don't come down here, that's fine too. Then I'm just missing that trade, I guess. But that's what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna leave that on the chart. Yeah, and with that, I'm gonna say a good night, and see you all tomorrow right around 12:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes before London opening. That's when I'm gonna come live, go online and live, so that we're ready for 1 a.m., which is the start of my trading zone time, whatever you want to call it. And then we can repeat that tomorrow. Hopefully we will have a few more viewers tomorrow. And again, if you have questions, please leave them in the comments, or come back tomorrow night for the next live stream, and then we can talk there. I will definitely pay more attention to the Telegram channel and the live chat tomorrow night. There was just really I only had 2 people here, so. And I will also have the link to the Telegram channel posted in the description tomorrow for the live stream, and we'll also have the MyFX book link for the FTMO challenge made public and also linked in the description tomorrow night. Like I said, I didn't have that tonight because it was just a big mess just getting the stream going, and tomorrow it should be a little bit more easy, and then I can add all that information. And if you do not get that entry, that's fine too. We don't have to take every trade, Anyway, I'm gonna say good night with that. Leave questions in the comments. Leave me a like if you can. If you would be so nice and leave me a like, I would appreciate that. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. And I'll see you all tomorrow night for the next session. Hopefully we have more luck tomorrow, or hopefully I wake up to a nice profit in the morning. That would be nice too. We'll see. All right. With that, good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for watching the video. Thanks for being part of my challenge and my journey. Hope you got some value out of it, and I see you all tomorrow night. Bye.